My Hero Academia Season 5 has reached its end, and it certainly was a highly anticipated season for a lot of fans. I know for me, I was really looking forward to the My Villain Academia arc. I think the villains are the most underrated characters in the series, so it's nice for them to finally get their long-deserved time in the spotlight. Let's take a look at their arc. Well, first we have to get through the joint training arc, of course. Here we go. Let's get things started. Oh, I guess they're holding things off for an episode. Maybe they're setting up the calm before the storm. Endeavor's arc? Really? Well, okay, but we're running out of time. We should really stop delaying the My Villain Academia arc. I said stop. Stop! Stop! Hello, Doomers and Doomettes, I'm your host Didi, and today we've returned to the world of My Hero Academia, but this time we're gonna take a look at the anime itself. A lot of people, myself included, were really looking forward to the adaptation of the My Villain Academia arc, and why wouldn't we? It's a fantastic arc in the manga that allows you to immerse yourself in the other side of the story. After spending the entire series with the students of UA, My Villain Academia offers a chance for us to experience the perspective of the villains, and it teaches us that they're not exactly as two-dimensional as they appear. To society, these monsters are lunatics beyond reason, who deserve nothing more than to be beaten, but when we see their lives, they're still people too. People who have experienced failure and loss, and it's left them with little options in their lives. In the manga, this arc is 22 chapters long, which ranges through volumes 23 to 25 in publication. On average, My Hero Academia's anime adapts about 2 chapters per episode, and yet the My Villain Academia arc only has 5 episodes to it. The joint training arc, the arc that should have been just before My Villain Academia, was 23 chapters long, and it was able to get 10 episodes. So, what the heck happened? Now, before we begin, I just wanted to give a disclaimer that we're not looking to totally bash studio bones here. The anime industry itself is well known to be a harsh one, with unfortunately unfairly overworked employees. At the end of the day, no one should be getting angry with the employees themselves. That's just silly. However, if you're an anime only and you're wondering why people are upset over the recent season, then this is the video for you, and I encourage you to at least watch the video to the end with an open mind to understand the perspective of others who feel a little bit slighted by the shortening of the arc. And as always, if this is content you're interested in, be sure to like the video, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this made. This video topic was actually voted on by you guys in the most recent poll, so I'm always listening to you in regards to what should be done. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. With that said, let's dive right in. Now, I don't think there's a better place to open up with than the opening. The anime opening is, in my opinion, one of the most crucial and important things to any series. It's not just about a cool song with snazzy visuals, it's about getting you into the proper mindset for the show. It's about setting the tone, or building an environment to subvert later within the series. Let's take a look at Attack on Titan as an example. Despite the fact that my opinions have changed on the series, it's worth noting that the openings for the series are consistently strong. The very first one sets the stage for a grimdark nature of the series, along with a feeling of hopelessness. The Season 2 opening ramps up the feelings of patriotism while hyping up the coming battle, and the Season 4 opening portrays the bleak horrors of war and how everyone loses if you get involved. These are very appropriate themes when compared to the arcs within the series, but let's take a look at the opening used for the My Villain Academia arc.
Whoa, whoa, it's alright, everything will be alright. Whoa, whoa, it's alright.
Meanwhile,
Whoa, whoa, it's alright, everything will be alright. Whoa, whoa, it's alright, everybody now we're here.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It's not very fitting. Sure, they changed the title card to say My Villain Academia, but these lyrics, the style, and emphasis on the heroes leaves things very optimistic. This opening would have been far more appropriately placed prior, however, as it stands, it's an oddly optimistic and hopeful song for a bleak arc. Instead of giving focus to the main characters of the arc, it places more emphasis on the students as always. Coincidentally, the same big 3 students who just so happen to have a certain movie coming up, but we'll come back to that. When you look at the manga volumes, particularly volume 24, there's a very noticeable change in style. The villains are front and center, they're changing the title of the manga, and for volume 25, the title is breaking apart thanks to Shigaraki's influence. It may seem inconsequential, but subconsciously it tells you that this isn't the story of Deku anymore, at least not for now. It makes things a bit more out of place, allowing you to accept that the story is coming from a different narrator too. Instead, you don't really get that level of immersion here. I mean, Spinner, who I've spoken about before on the channel as one of the point of view characters of the My Villain Academia arc, is hardly even in the intro. Why does Class 1A need more focus in an arc that isn't even about any of them? The same could be said for the ending as well. Why not give the villains a time to shine in the spotlight? This isn't exactly the appropriate time to show the cutesy life of UA students, is it? It's a small note in the grand scheme of things, but ultimately I think not having a villain-centered opening is the first crime Season 5 commits, as it doesn't feel like you can immerse yourself in a different story, and with the episode length, this arc feels more like a side quest. So let's use that point to move on to talk about the episodes themselves, and right from the start, things aren't looking so hot. First off, we completely lost the Detronet advertisement scene. This isn't just a little fun scene, it's a small but impactful one. It introduces us to the company as not just a shadowy group of extra villains, but a tech company that produces regular everyday items which have importance and use to the general public. It also gives reason as to why they would even be liked, and when we see Redestro himself in person, he's able to give us a bit of personal context about Destro himself. No, not that one. Destro was brought up briefly during the Gentle Criminal arc, but I think despite a small background appearance, he maintains a significant part by providing us with a new perspective of how people view society. Redestro is a person who sees himself as for the people. This differs quite a bit from prior villains. As it stands, the introduction of the Meta Liberation Front is just shown as a new shadowy group, no different from any other. It also cuts out another one of the most important things in the arc, at least in my opinion. The attack on the Creature Rejection Clan, or simply put, the Quirk Racists. This is a crucial moment for the opening, as the League doesn't merely start out fighting Gigantomachia like the anime suggests, instead the League was at the absolute bottom of their lives. Despite the victory over Overhaul, their current lives were pathetic, living in squabble, doing petty crimes just to get by, and cut off from the guidance and luxuries they had. Things were bad, and they were taking their toll. It's where Spinner finally gets to show a bit of his character, and we learn his past, what's important to him. These were things I covered in my video discussion of the character, which I'll link here for you if you haven't seen it already, but basically Bones removed two scenes critical to developing a very underused character. If the joint training arc got to be adapted in its full entirety, one with an excessive amount of flashbacks to scenes we've already seen in the series, why couldn't a character who never really has had moments in the series finally get his scene? Following this, the events feel like a speed run to try to get through the rest of the arc. Heck, just look at the wiki to see every single thing the anime removes from the manga. While Bones has been pretty faithful in the past in terms of adaptation, this is really drastic. One thing I found personally of note is that Tomura doesn't lose several of his fingers like in the manga, a pretty significant injury, and his backstory wasn't even a full episode despite its significance. They even cut out a part where it's implied that All For One gifted him his decay quirk. A small panel in the manga, but clearly it was important enough to include a man in a black suit with no tie concealing his face dropping off a young Tenko Shimura to his house. What else could that mean? You may think a lot of it is just, so what, they're just small moments, but it's those moments added together that truly define these characters. Without that, how can the audience know anything about them? I don't think the arc could be stretched to a whole 12 episodes, but maybe 7, 8, anything greater than just 5. I'd say include the Detronet advertisement and include the opening segment at least. The battles don't need to be one for one accurate, but at least don't cut out all of this significance. Ultimately, I think the blame for all this content cut could be placed on one thing: the newest movie, My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. Please, hear me out for a moment. Now, I'll be honest and say I'm not deep in the My Hero Academia community, so I'm not sure the consensus, and I'm probably gonna tick some people off with this, but honestly, I'm not looking forward to this film, and it's not one I have any interest in. It feels very cash grabby to me. Especially after the incredible success of Demon Slayer Infinity Train, it's possible that they just wanted to try to at least get a measure of that film's success. Now, I enjoyed the first film, Two Heroes, quite a bit. I thought it was just sort of a harmless offshoot adventure that didn't quite interrupt the flow of the story, as I thought things could return to normal afterwards. But Heroes Rising, however, I thought things got a little bit murky. While Nines I felt was okay as an antagonist to allude to Tomura's potential future, I thought it was very oddly placed in the canon timeline, and the ending felt very contrived. Bakugo gaining One for All temporarily and then everyone conveniently forgetting it ever happened. And the plot of the third one, it doesn't really feel right to me either. Deku being framed for murder and hunted on a worldwide scale. The stakes seem extraordinarily high to me, which is the problem I have with it. This is clearly set before the war arc, something the anime is just about to start with the 6th season, and without getting into specifics, it's an event which clearly shakes up the status quo of things. But the events of the war arc don't change things on a worldwide scale. At least, not just yet. It's the same sort of power scaling issue that affects pretty much all fictional fighting media. You just keep introducing things more and more powerful, and if you don't, the events that come after it can risk seeming insignificant in comparison. And I can't help but feel that a villain on the scale of a worldwide threat with Deku known to the entire planet, it seems too big a story for this point in the timeline. And I think that's why they reshuffled the events of the manga, to allow for the Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto arc to occur just before the film's release, alongside with an opening with a strong emphasis on the trio, despite their relative insignificance in the overarching episodes of that half of the season. I mean, why else would you do so? Remember, this movie already came out on August 6th in Japan, splat in the middle of the Endeavor arc. After all, this movie is meant to capitalize on those characters and their popularity. Perhaps they intended to tie it right into the arc about them. And that's not even to mention, to tie into the movie, there was that waste of an episode, which just seemed like an excuse to put Sue and Ochaku into bikinis for a beach episode. If you're gonna do a beach episode, at least do it like Land of the Lustrous. Emotionally scarring. So, where does that leave us fans of the League of Super Evil? Not in a particularly pleasant spot. While it is possible that some of the cut moments will return in the next season, and possible that they may get some additional time to shine then, it's not particularly great. It's not terrible, especially as Horikoshi continues to give them focus and strong moments in the manga, but it certainly feels like those heading the anime aren't too keen on letting the brand name boys out of the spotlight for a bit. I mean, I get it, they are the most popular characters, so from a purely corporate stance, I guess it makes sense, but I can't help but feel we lost a bit from a storytelling perspective. I can't say anything about World Heroes missions yet, I haven't seen it, and at this moment I'm not really sure I want to, but I can't help but feel they maybe should have borrowed a bit more from the pages of Infinity Train. Perhaps instead of trying to make a new explosive story with high stakes, they maybe could have adapted the Endeavor training arc into the film instead. It wouldn't have been the most explosive action film, but it instead could have told the story of the Todoroki family. Rather than making the series an advertisement for the movie, perhaps like Infinity Train, a movie adapted from an actual arc could fit better into the overall narrative structure. Now, if you made it this far into the video without already disliking it, I just want to say I'm not taking this time to completely trash the series. I don't think Studio Bones has irreparably damaged everything and the whole show has gone to total crap, but My Villain Academia was my favorite arc, and it's a bit disappointing to have seen it so rushed after I spent the last year anticipating it. Unfortunately, now that that's done, not a lot can be said, but maybe I could take this opportunity to recommend the manga to any anime-onlys out there to sort of expand upon the story they were given, and not in an elitist sense of superiority for reading the manga, but rather giving an option for those to expand on the perspective of the story they were given. It also could be a good chance for content creators to get more focus on the characters themselves. Just like how I'll continue making analysis videos on the characters, I'm sure others too can hopefully fill that gap left by the anime. There's even some great fan-edited videos of openings that come across as genuinely better than what we got, though that's not very hard, is it?
Whoa, whoa, it's alright, everything will be alright.
Hey guys, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. What are your grievances with Season 5? Are you interested in the upcoming film? Let me know in the comments. I'm really thankful to you guys for your support on my recent Spinner video, as well as the new Land of the Lustrous one, so you could definitely expect a bit more content like that down the line. Some other videos in the pipeline include a Did Nothing Wrong video on the best anime dad, Bondrewd, and in addition, I may be streaming some Deltarune in the very near future for an upcoming project. So if you're interested, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to not miss out. And as always, if you have any other suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments, or join our Discord if you'd like a chance to talk personally. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I could see you next time.